January 25th, 2022. Yeah, day 9. 9 days since this last relocation. Nasty one. Just make your toes curl like a reverse orgasm. So anyway, I've been praying God heal me from this for years and years and years and years. Every day. Begging for it. People prayed for me. Lots of people. And God's here. God is here. And He's answering my prayers. I'm pretty sure I'm at the top of the hill right here. It ain't going to take very much more to get me tipped over on the other side. But yeah, ignorance and leaving people hung up like roping calves and expecting their bodies to grow with their freaking head knocked sideways and their eyes crossed and stuff like that. Man, I hope the day that's coming to an end. I pray for a day when people get their neck relocated. People can resolve their seizures and get out of their seizure patterns and get their immune system back in line where it's supposed to, where they have a definition for a hiccup and a yawn. Something. Wow, this is ridiculous. And I'll tell you what, God's upset about it. God don't like it. And you may look like, wow, God. Yeah, well, you go in there and tell the doctors right now that you believe in God, they'll give you a schizophrenia label. That dude's schizophrenic, man. He believes in God. You mark my word, that's the honest to God's truth. So if you're a Christian out there right now, you go in there and say, God talk to you every once in a while. Yeah, buddy, you're a Christian. God's here, people. I testify the Lord Jesus Christ did come down here on this earth and save me and save you and save everybody else that wants to be saved. But see, ain't very many people want to be saved. They're more worried about killing babies because they don't want to take care of their responsibilities and stuff. And that's another thing that sickens God. I mean, God's sick of this. He wants to throw y'all up. You mark my word, Sodom and Gomorrah is real. God said he wouldn't kill everybody. Yeah, I'll never do that one again. Good thing he just kept that little bitty teeny bit. He might have left this planet barren. How would you like to create something that can do such horrible things? Things that you would never dream of doing. That's what God sees. So anyway, we're going to get on with it on this. I'm going to talk about my first seizure cycle. Both of them are pretty much the same, so we're really talking about both of them. So, you know, I was driving down the road, about 60 miles an hour, doing my chin tucks, and something moved, boy, and it moved a lot, like boom, and it blacked me out. I come to, I was still cruising down the median in the grass. So, oh man, pull that back up over on the highway. So I get home and I started my seizure cycle sometime in the middle of the night, early morning. Started pumping. Seizure cycles pump. They like pump, 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 pump up. Had this half hiccup, crazy thing. And I'm pretty sure it has something to do with hypertension, because I've actually experienced just a little bit of relief in what I know is hypertension. As far as that's my body. But when you get relief off your breathing pattern, and your breathing pattern goes back to normal without being all disruptive and jerky, and you're not really in control of it. Yeah. So my breathing pattern has kind of settled down. It's been kind of hiccuping and like in and out, like a misfiring cylinder that comes back to life. But this morning I noticed a slight relief. I haven't taken my blood pressure yet, so I'm not worried about it as long as I feel relief. I mean, if I start to feel anything really significant, I will start checking stuff. But anyway, back to that seizure. So I pumped on that thing for like 28 days, and I mean, you're like, it's just a kind of like sort of a sneeze, sort of a hiccup, and you just pump up whatever you got to do over your period of time. Because I went to the doctor, and the first day, like, looked at me and said, we don't know why you're bobbing up and down, can't say you can't breathe right. You look fine to me. Well, you got high blood pressure. That's pretty much what I got during my first. Went back again. Man, ain't nothing. Oh, they threw antidepressants at me, too. I think I was on Zoloft. It's a crime to give people medications that can trigger seizures. See, my seizure may have never been triggered, except that I was taking Zoloft, and if that's the reason why it triggered my seizure, that's another reason why you need to really be careful about what they're doing. I mean, you're sedating seizures. I mean, you think sedating the seizures is really a good idea? Straight up. I seized out of my grandma's seizures. I still have seizures. I have seizures right now. Everybody has seizures. Seizures don't go away. They're genetically encoded into your body that everybody has to have them to heal up. And it's your autoimmune system, and it runs your hiccups, it runs your yawns, it runs your sneezes, it runs your ringing in your ears and stuff. It runs it all. It's your brain trying to fix your body or your neck, more than likely in your neck, since that's what we're talking about here, is hung up necks. Seizures. Get your neck hung up real good. You probably got a seizure waiting to pop out. Just a little time bomb. Go off whenever it wants to. You might be driving down the highway going 70 miles an hour. 75, 80 nowadays. My son had his seizure. He likes to put the gas pedal down and drive as fast as he can before he hits something. That's a seizure while you're driving in a car. While you're driving the car. Anyway, like I said, about 4 weeks, around 4 weeks. It was actually about right at 4 weeks when I seized out. You get this little left leg tapping thing going on, and you just like, they finally just take over. And I already described in another video what they feel like. We're not going to go into that in this video right here. We are going to say that, yeah, I did seize out twice. I do have grandma's seizure wave. I kept all the paperwork over there. I mean, hospitals and stuff, they don't keep track of your records. They will mix them up with if you got somebody in the near vicinity with your same name, they'll mix theirs in there with them, man, if they get tired of dealing with you. They're like, man, you this guy? Oh, you know what you're talking about. But yeah, that's it. You lose your breathing pattern. Your chest just starts feeling like it's going to blow up. Of course, I had a bolt run through my eyeball. Like somebody shot me in the head right there, and bullets right behind my eye. Oh, man. Puffing, 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 puffing. Nodding up and down, shaking. All this pain. Freaking headache deluxe, man. It feels like, there was years that I just thought about driving my car off a bridge somewhere and being done with it, let everybody go on with their life and stuff. I went through several years of that. There ain't no relief in the pain, and the pain don't go away, and it's just all day with pain and dysfunction and gesture and problems and problems and problems and problems and problems. Looks a little better on the other side sometimes. But God was here. God upheld me. God protected me. Because I had to have protection from myself, because even God knew the pain was just so horrid. And there was no relief. No relief for the chronic fatigue, the insomnia, the nausea. Those all go with the seizures too. When you're pumping your seizure, you're going to think you're going to die on the first day. Like I did. Because you ain't got nobody's going to tell you about it. Nobody's going to describe it to you. It's like, they're just going to look at you like, we don't know what's up with you. So if anybody runs across this video, wants to maybe seize out, he has a standing grandma seizure, and I mean, you just barely standing, dude. You're crawling around quite a bit of the time, because I did a lot of that too. Man, crawl the toilet, crawl up on the toilet, sit down there and pee. I didn't poop 3 times in a month because I didn't eat. 5 pounds of food in a whole month. It's probably about all I ate. Maybe 4 or 5 pounds. Most of it was something for breakfast. I drank a lot of coffee with a lot of cream in it. Not really the caffeine. Who cares if you shake when you're shaking away like that? But anyway, I did seize out the first time, and I did get relief from that, and I did have my stretch cycle and everything, and I was coming out of it pretty good till I got hit the second time. Second time I went in, I knew I had a real good idea that it was seizures. So I went to the doctor. They set me up an appointment a week later. I'm over there working, driving around, having seizures. In front of all my friends, my co-workers and everything. Such fun and embarrassing stuff. So he went in there, took a wave. About 2 weeks later, I get a wave taken. I called him back about 6 days later and said, come on back in and talk. So I'm going there to talk about the seizures. I'm still having my seizures. I haven't seized out yet, but I'm about 3 weeks in. And mind you, I've already done it once, so the second time was not near as scary as the first time. I'm like, well, if I die, I don't care. Be done with it. If I live, well, there's going to be something positive on the other side of getting through these. Again, the second time. 2 times. Goes in there and says, we're going to do some tests. And I said, what? So they start shocking me for carpal tunnel. And I'm in there. I'm asking them, help me with these seizures. And they want to shock me for carpal tunnel when wow. I'm all pumped up. My battery's ready to blow. I'm fixing to seize out of this dog. And we're going to start shocking you. And let me tell you what, your body is so conductive. Your body has to make changes for you to have a successful seizure. I'm not exactly sure what's changing, but you have to have these changes to have a successful seizure. And that's probably the pumping part. That's why it takes 4 weeks to get done, because it's got to get whatever juice going in there that will either make your nerves like semiconductors or maybe turn you into a little bit of a battery. Maybe batterize your blood and your hormones and stuff and make your muscles work a whole lot better. Yeah, I described what it feels like. Now I'm describing about how you get there. Well, I got there in my car the first time, sitting in the seat where I was trying to drink a cup of coffee that I just went and got across the street over at my neighbor's store. Sitting there and it just took off. Come to in my car. Second time I was in the living room with my 5-year-old son. I was babysitting there having seizures in the chair. Everybody's at work, everybody's at school, just me and the kid. Right, that second one right there in front of my child, he remembers it still. I'm sure it scared him. And believe it or not, he's afflicted with the same condition. He is taking anticonvulsants, and I'm hoping to get another shot his neck. Now that I got a little bit more information on mine, I'm going to start hunting some necks maybe. I'm obligated to tell people about this. You have no honor. There is no honor in you. Nothing concerning this. If you have knowledge of it to amount to anything, and stand by and don't speak out against it at minimum, get this back on track to where we're supposed to be. We're not supposed to be a hung up necked herd. We're a herd of people that hung up necks, the whole world, not just here in the U.S. Man, people hung up when they're born. And hung up when they're born, you won't do nothing about it. First 5 years of life, they probably fell on their head 100 times. Probably already out. It's horrendous. It's awful. And it does sicken God. It really does sicken God. And God's coming for you. God's coming for you. I know that about God. I know one thing about God. When God comes, you're going to know it's God. Anyway, God bless here. It was a long video. I'm kind of venting a lot. I mean, it's my diary type situation here, so I can actually get some of this documented in some form or fashion. It's like I see things ahead of time. I don't see things ahead of time. I mean, I feel things, and I'm putting 2 and 2 together, since it does appear that I am still improving. It's slow, but it's actually a lot faster than it's ever been. 18 and a half years later. I've done more in 9 days after this relocation recovering. So I'm at a point, probably about 5 or 6 years after the accident. I mean, when I was about Let me say it's 4 years after the accident when I had my first seizure. So I'm probably right around my first seizure right now. I'm not talking about during the seizure. I'm talking about before it. I was in a lot of pain. Just, man, literally begging for help. Anyway, God bless from Blanchard, USA. Here in Okieville, the windy state. Getting chilly outside. Temperature's dropping again. And we praying for the rain. God forgive us, cleanse us, heal us, Father. Please hear our prayer. We need some rain. Please, no big floods. Just get us good and wet so I can plow my garden. Later.